It's fantasy time once again this
Oh
weekend.
boy.
We didn't have an episode last week with a preview, but if you missed it, if you kind of just, you didn't miss anything because we didn't post anything, but we did have our kind of fantasy preview to an extent where we did our driver lineups as per usual last week for Dover. So don't think that we missed out on that. Kyle did end up being victorious in that one as well. So I think that's 3 consecutive wins for you now in terms of race weeks here for yourself. But
it's been a nice little stretch here, I got to say.
It's good for you. You're overall ahead of me as well. I think it's 7-6 now. So you've done very, very well for yourself lately. And you're looking to continue that this weekend at COTA. Very close on the overall as well, 10 points. Yep. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous right now. We're so close. We're so evenly matched. And I wouldn't expect anything else because we're pretty similar in a lot of regards on this show. So looking forward to that, except for the Brett Moffitt point situation, but that's a different discussion. But let's get into the fantasy preview for COTA, and you lead us off this week because we have 3 series to predict in terms of winners for later on. So you're going to start us off here this week, but I get first Cup Series winner pick later on. But take it away with your first pick.
Yes. I don't know if I'll be hitting that 250 plus point mark again this week. Dover kind of bounced really, really well for me there. It would have been basically a perfect weekend had Larson got the win, but I'll take the win with Alex Bowman. Nonetheless, I had him in my lineup. Things worked out well there.
Very good pick there.
But as we get to Circuit of the Americas, this is a fascinating one because it's a brand new road course. It's a very different road course versus a lot of the other ones that NASCAR goes to. You've got a lot of undulation, which is something that you can't really take from Daytona at all. So you kind of have to look away from that in terms of road course. There's aspects to Watkins Glen that you could maybe look at. But I think overall, this is a very different road course than I think a lot of these guys are used to and have gone to. So you kind of have to look overall at all the road courses and see who kind of rises to the top rather than any specific road courses to kind of look to for Circuit of the Americas. And for that, there's 2 obvious names that I think we will be beginning things with. And the first one I'll take, I'm not going to go and try and save him later or anything like that. I think we get him out of the way early. And the first one is Chase Elliott. You save the usages all season long for the road courses. Well, they're starting to come thick and fast here over these next handful of weeks. We're into the second half of the season. Lots of road courses coming up, and that's where these Chase Elliott usages come through. The guy is just dominant at these places. Even when you've got some other competitors like Martin Truex Jr. or any other names, he just rises above them. And you look at the win streak he had at road courses. Should have won at the Daytona road course if it wasn't for that weird late caution because of rain that wasn't really there or anything like that. And then the chaos that happened after that, he was in line to win that race. So I have no expectations that Chase Elliott won't be at the front once again, qualifying as well. So he'll be up there from the start. You don't have to worry about any
Will he start on pole?
Draw. No, he will not.
Okay.
He will not start on pole. That's actually a fun one. We can maybe make a poll guess here as well.
Might as well. We'll see that later on.
Yeah. But anyways, Chase Elliott.
We don't have to do that very often.
Road course guy. Yeah, I know. Oh my God. I wish we did. Anyways, Chase Elliott, great road course guy, top team, doesn't have to worry about qualifying draw. He'll be starting where that car deserves. Chase Elliott, easily the first choice here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
How many usages do you have left on him? I'm just curious.
I'll double check here because I actually don't remember off the top of my head.
I've got 7 left.
I've got 7 as well. Yeah.
Okay, so I used them at Darlington there, you used them at Atlanta, and then we both used them, I think, at the road course and then somewhere else. Martinsville. Yeah. Okay, so that's our 4 usages so far on Chase Elliott. So makes a lot of sense in that regard. As Kyle said, he's just a dominant guy on these kinds of tracks, and it doesn't matter which track it is. This is an all-around beast on the road courses. Over the last 9 races on road courses, he's got an average finish of 8.11, 5 wins, 6 top 5s, and a whopping 275 laps led. And in road course terms, that's is a lot of laps led because they're about what? I don't know how many laps it is this weekend, but it's got to be probably 50, 60 something. But
let's see.
I think Watkins Glen's 80 or 90, right?
And that's a pretty short road course in terms of Like you're looking at 2-minute lap times here plus.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. So, I mean, you just look at Chase Elliott here. He's a no-brainer. I've been saving the usages on him. And this is a track where I feel confident with him. He did a Goodyear tire test here as well. I don't know how much of an advantage that is going to be.
Hey, laps are laps.
And practice, he's going to have that this weekend. So I expect that car to be pretty much dialed in when it comes time for Sunday's event. And I'm pretty much locking in on Chase Elliott to have a very, very fantastic weekend. And he's still looking for that first win of 2021. Let's not forget that as well. So could he break through this weekend and finally get that first win? We'll see when the checker flag falls on Sunday. But also, no need. Oh, okay.
68 laps for the race. 15.
Wow. Oh my God, we're going to be here a long
first
time.
Stage, 17 second stage, and then 36 final stage.
Okay, let's not forget that there's no local yellows, so let's bring on the cautions. Woohoo!
Lots of runoff. So
there's a lot of passing zones at this track. There's absolutely no excuse for a lack of passing. It is just how much the field is going to get spread out, and I'm a little bit concerned about that. But hopefully, there's a good battle up front between Chase Elliott and this next guy, Martin Truex Jr. Yep. He's my second guy this weekend. I've got 6 usages left on Truex. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious, I think, as the season goes along, because he is more of an all-around threat, it seems, this season, of course, having 3 wins already. So I don't want to waste a usage here or there. I think I'll use him maybe on a couple of road courses, Watkins Glen for sure, because he's really, really good there along with Chase Elliott, but maybe a couple of the ones that I may take a little bit more of a cautious approach with Martin Truex Jr. But for this weekend at COTA, I'm not going to take that. He's a guy that really frustrates me on road courses because especially this past year and a half or so when we've had these tracks, he's been so good and then he does something to mess it up. We look at the Daytona road course, the past 2 instances where he was a speeding penalty when he was in the lead there in the 2020 version of it. And then 2021, this season, he of course goes into that one of those last restarts there, sends it in there, locks up the wheels and then spins out and costs himself a really good finish and possibly a contention for the win there. So it's just been all over the place for the 19 car, but over the last 9 road course races, he has the best average finish amongst anybody in the NASCAR Cup Series field with a 5.44, 2 victories, 5 top 5s, 142 laps led. Elliott and Truex are the guys to beat on the road courses, and I'm going to have both of them in my lineup here this weekend.
Absolutely. It just makes so much sense to use them. And how many usages do you have left on Truex there?
6.
Okay, I've got 5, so a little bit difference there. A little bit of a difference there. Hey, you can't talk much because I'm the one who's ahead right now. But Truex is the obvious play for
as a low blow.
Hey, I'm just spitting facts here. But no, it's a road course. It's Truex. It's just one of the 2 obvious picks. There's really not much else to say about it.
Yeah, for sure. You go again here with number 3.
No, you. Oh, yes, because I also have Truex. Sorry. Next, this is where it opens up. This is where it gets interesting with what you want to do, because there are some road course ringers stepping in here, guys. You don't need to worry about usages for. There's other regulars who are contenders elsewhere, but do you want to use a road course usage on them or save it for elsewhere? So I think the next one I'll go to is maybe a bit more of a quote unquote safe pick, because I'm not worried about the usages whatsoever, because this guy isn't running the full season. And that is one Austin Cindric with Team Penske here. When I look at it, you've got qualifying. You don't need to worry about starting at the back because he's entering as an extra car that you don't need to worry about all that stuff. So given his talent level on road courses, I think the big thing for me as well is seeing how well AJ Allmendinger did at the Daytona road course, just in terms of comparing those 2 in relatively equal equipment in the Xfinity series, extrapolating that to what it would mean with a Penske car at a road course here. I really like Cindric this weekend because of that qualifying. He doesn't need to worry about starting at the back. The one thing that might be a concern is if there is any pit strategy when it comes to the end of stages costing you points. We'll see how things maybe go with the pit cycle or anything like that. But for Cindric, in terms of pure talent, in terms of the car, the fact that he could theoretically go out and win this race when you talk about the car he is and the point and his talent there, I just think it makes a lot of sense given the usage situation. Don't need to worry about Cindric. It kind of saves you from using somebody else that you might want to save some usages for. So Austin Cindric is my next entry here.
I'm a little bit. He's in my lineup currently. I'll wait and see just a little bit.
Waiting on him. Okay.
I'm gonna wait on Cindric. Just he's one of my fringe guys, so I'll wait on him a little bit. But I do have him tentatively in my lineup. We'll see if that changes by the end of this. But my third guy here is a guy I'm going with 100%. It's a guy you mentioned. AJ Allmendinger is in my lineup this weekend. It's just for the reason of practice and qualifying being there this weekend. Unlike the Daytona road course where he showed exceptionally well without qualifying. So he had to come from the back, and he did a very good job getting a top 10 finish there. And I'm expecting big things from Allmendinger once again this weekend. This is a driver's racetrack. This is a driver's event this weekend. And the people that are good on road courses, they're going to have plenty of time to figure that out. And AJ Allmendinger, I'm expecting probably a top 5 finish here this weekend, to be honest. I'd be kind of disappointed if he doesn't maybe get that, because of how well he did show on the Daytona road course, and this is more of a road course where he is more accustomed to driving on as well. So having the Xfinity Series race as well is going to bode well for him, I think. And I think Allmendinger is going to be one to beat for sure this weekend. He's got an average finish over the last 4 road course races in the Cup Series of 16.75, 2 top 10s, 7 laps led. It's kind of all over the place for the numbers, but he hasn't been in directly competitive equipment in his latter kind of GTG days. They didn't quite give him the car that he needed to. He had some mechanical problems, specifically at Watkins Glen. He showed well in qualifying there, just didn't quite get the result in the race that he deserves. So I'm expecting Allmendinger to get at least a top 10. I think a top 5 is definitely on the cards for him if he puts his foot right this weekend and doesn't get into too much trouble, but he's got nothing to lose. No points on the line for him. It's just go out there and win, and that's their strategy going into this race weekend. Tire wear should be a very interesting factor because of how long the lap is, and these road course guys, they can manage their tires a little bit better than the rest, it seems, and I think that'll be go a long way for AJ Allmendinger here as my third selection for fantasy. My fourth guy is a guy that's on a roll right now. He's just absolutely ridiculously consistent. 11 straight top 10 finishes. William Byron is in my lineup this weekend. After the last line road course races, the numbers are exceptional in terms of the average finish, but he's an exceptional qualifier on road courses, and I think that's what I'm looking for, specifically in the first stage. And William Byron is a different beast this season. The numbers I can't really look at right now and say that, I can't really I can bench him for this weekend. He's just too damn consistent. He's got 4 top 10s over the last 9 races, 71 laps led, so a very nice total there. He's done well at Sonoma, a little bit at Watkins Glen as well. I think he could be an underrated usage here this weekend. And I've got 6 usages left on Byron, so I'm not too concerned on using him, aggressively for the remainder of the season or cautiously. I think he's a good value usage this weekend, and I think the 24 car could be someone to be reckoning with come the checkered flag on Sunday.
Well, this is kind of
you don't seem too impressed with that one.
I really was hoping you weren't going to pick him, because I think Byron is a fantastic road course racer. We've seen it in qualifying in the past. He hasn't been able to put it into a race performance super often. We saw him have some issues in the Daytona road course, but this season, given their consistency, they found that groove where they've been able to be that top 10 threat. And I think William Byron could be a pole sitter candidate this weekend. I think he could be a top 3 candidate, and I think he could surprise and maybe get up there and contend with your Chase Elliott's and Martin Truex Jr.'s if things break right for him this weekend. So I've absolutely got him in my lineup as well. 6 usages as well, similar boat in that one. And I've also got AJ Allmendinger in my lineup, exactly how I thought things would go here, at least for these first kind of 5. I was hoping that you wouldn't go with Byron, but I kind of thought you would. And I definitely thought that this was going to be a week where we were going to have one difference, and that's exactly how things are playing out here. But for Allmendinger, it's a lot of the things you said there. He's a veteran. He's been in those situations before. He showed really well in that season, I guess, second race of the season. The first road course of the year at Daytona. That Colleague car looks good in the Cup Series. He looks good in the Cup Series. They came from the back. This time they won't have to do so if they qualify well. So it just makes a lot of sense for Allmendinger here. But with that, we get to the last round here. But I will say that this does benefit you because you get the first pick here. So you can take the guy you want, and you have to put me in a corner if I want to take that same guy. I'm
very nervous right now because I don't know what you're thinking for this last pick. I got two obviously left, but I had Cindric initially in there, so I could definitely switch things up here and not go with Cindric.
Right. I did forget about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is interesting. As per usual, I'm stalling. How long can I stall for this time without making a decision?
Talk me through some of the names you're looking at here.
Well, there's a whole bunch, to be honest. Austin Cindric, of course. Christopher Bell, of course, won the Daytona Road Course, did very, very well there. Ryan Blaney is one that I think could be a very nice addition this weekend because although the Daytona Road Courses haven't been too nice to him, everywhere else has been pretty good to Ryan Blaney on the road courses in his career. Could be an interesting value usage there. Kurt Busch as well could be a very good one. He showed very well in the Daytona Road Course. Just hasn't quite had the luck this season, so I don't know on Kurt Busch. Chris Buescher as well could be a very interesting one. He's just a great value usage, I think, this weekend. But I've got two in a row here, which is really frustrating. I
think the big thing is whether you take Cindric or not, because I think that can swing things quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of boring if we just have one.
I'm not gonna complain if you take Cindric. I'll say that.
When I look at my usage situation, let's go aggressive. Why not? Let's go with we're gonna take Austin Cindric out. We're gonna put Ryan Blaney in.
He's going bold.
We're going Ryan Blaney. I need to make up some points this weekend, and I think Blaney's gonna have more of a point stay more so than Austin Cindric. At least I hope so. Good Lord. But yeah, I've got 6 usages left on Blaney, and when I look at the schedule coming up, I think I'll probably use all 6 of those usages, but I can manage them where I feel confident with Blaney that I'm not, losing a value usage with him because I think he's extremely valuable down the stretch here. But I think with practice, Blaney could be a nice addition to my lineup. So I'll take Cindric out for the good of fantasy. Let's go with 2 differences, hopefully, unless I get one of your guys here that you picked for the last one. Man, oh man, this is an interesting one for the last
final pick here. Final pick.
I initially had Christopher Bell in my lineup because of how well he ran at the Daytona Road Course. Okay. And that's a good little pick, I think. But
it's a good car too.
Yeah, it's a good car as well. There's a lot of good guys, man. This is just a tough one. You know what? I usually just I'm gonna go with Bell. I'm just gonna go with it.
He's going with it. Okay.
I'm gonna go with Christopher Bell because I waver too much sometimes, and I'm just gonna stick with my initial gut, except for the Ryan Blaney and Austin Cindric thing to spice things up. I'm gonna go with Christopher Bell to round out my lineup for COTA this weekend.
I mean, it makes sense. He is the defending road course winner, so it does make a lot of sense. And when you look at Bell and the usages, it's not somebody that you're necessarily worried about using up all 10. So I definitely think that makes a lot of sense. That Blaney one does scare me quite a bit. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to match you on either of them.
Okay.
I'm going to go different. So we're going to have two differences here.
Did I mention anyone that you're going to pick here or no?
You did not. You did not.
This is scaring me now.
I'm going with a bit of a swing on this one here.
Here he goes with a swing, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going with a swing. It's somebody that I definitely need to manage the usages for, but looking at the way the schedule breaks to the rest of the season, I actually don't hate taking the swing as much in this race, mainly because the run they've been on at road courses has been so good. Back-to-back second places at road courses dating back to the Roval last year and the Daytona Road Course earlier this year. Could have won the race earlier this year as well. I am going to the Penske stable. It is Joey Logano as my final entry here. So I'm matching you on the Penske one. I'm going a bit different for this one. And the big thing for me is the lack of speed that they've had at 550 tracks compared to kind of some of the other teams that they've had. They've been much better at 750 horsepower. The run he's been on road courses has been a big uptick from kind of a couple years previous. I think it's 3 or 4 straight top 10s and, of course, the back-to-back second place finishes. So I like the trend. I like the way that they've been running with at least this season in terms of the schedule coming up. Not super worried about, at least in the short term, some of the tracks coming up. It's a little bit until we get to that next 750 horsepower track that isn't a road course. So Joey Logano is my final entry to the lineup here at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, it's a very good pick, Kyle. Very, very good pick. Yeah, I think Logano is a bit of an underrated road course racer. I think all Penske's pretty underrated, to be honest. I think Keselowski is, he had that really good stint.
How many times did he wreck earlier this year and still finished like top 5?
Ridiculous, right? Like, I don't know how he did it there.
Yeah.
But I think all three are very, very good for this weekend, just because of the added practice element there. I think that can't be, overstated enough of how much of a, element that is for especially these veterans to give themselves a shot here to compete this weekend. Let's look at the honorable mentions, though, the ones that just missed our lineups that could be of value for you this weekend. We'll start off with Denny Hamlin. He could be one if you have some usages left on him in that 5 to 6 range. Maybe you want to pull the trigger on Hamlin because he's been very, very good on the road course. It's been consistently up there. But I think a lot of that has had to do with his starting position and this qualifying format and the qualifying draw. He's been always good in the point situation, so he always has about a top 5 starting position, and he can usually propel himself up into that really good stage point area where he can get some solid points overall during the day. I'm a little bit more hesitant on Hamlin specifically this weekend due to that qualifying element, but with the run that Hamlin's been on this season, you can't really, not look at him for a fantasy usage, but I'm a bit more cautious on him, but he's definitely an honorable mention. Kyle Busch, I think, is an underrated road course racer. The Daytona road courses have not been too kind to him, and the Roval as well. But on the actual road courses that are built as road courses, he's a very, very good driver on these tracks. Sonoma and Watkins Glen specifically, of course, he was very, very good there for a lot of years. And I think he's honestly a good guy that could compete with Truex and Chase Elliott this weekend, with him having the Xfinity Series race as well. I'm always a big fan of when Kyle runs the lower series on a race weekend. It usually translates into success. We saw it at Kansas where he won the Truck Series race. He won the Cup Series race. Of course, I think there's a bit of correlation with the speed that he has when he runs that doubleheader, but I'm going to go on the cautious side of things. I'm going to save him for maybe a couple of other road courses for this season. Not quite COTA. I think he could be definitely one to keep your eye on out. Keep an eye out for this weekend. You have him in your lineup. Joey Logano, I have him in here as an honorable mention. Super underrated, I think. He won at Watkins Glen in 2015 after Kevin Harvick ran out of fuel there in that one. Just, been a solid, quiet guy that does the job on road courses. As much as I wouldn't want to admit it, I think he could be an underrated guy this weekend, a good value guy for this weekend.
I sure hope he is.
Yeah, let's hope it's not the case this weekend. Kurt Busch, as I said, I was looking at him for a usage, just been a little bit off this season. The road course speed at the Daytona road course was very encouraging. So that was really, really close for me to put him in. But I'm just going to go on the conservative side of things with Kurt Busch. I think there's just a couple of other better options there. And I don't know if that one lap pace will be there for Kurt Busch to get him a good qualifying position here, where he won't have to overdrive the car. He might be in that kind of 15th to 20th range after qualifying, I would say, but we'll see on how that all pans out. I think qualifying Sunday morning, actually. So just an interesting little thing there. Chris Buescher, fairly, underrated on the road courses as well. It's got some pretty solid numbers, about a 12th place average finish, I think, over the last couple of races as well. Yeah, 14th place average finish. So that's in road course terms, it's actually pretty decent. And then Alex Bowman and Brad Keselowski round out your honorable mentions. Bowman's been very, very good on specifically the kind of hybrid tracks with the Roval and the Daytona road course. He's been pretty solid on those. Not quite as much on the actual traditional road course venues, but we'll see if that maybe, switches things up this season, because we haven't had a proper road course so far in 2021. We haven't had one for over a season and a half now, basically, because we didn't have any last season. And then Brad Keselowski was very, very good in the early 2010s on road courses. Has kind of dipped off in form in that regard, but he kind of was that way with the Super Speedway package.
Yeah, I was going to say,
and look at that. He won at the Super Speedway race earlier this season at Talladega. So maybe there's a bit of a change of fortune for the number 2 car this weekend. And he obviously is in the news. That could usually bring a little bit of a spark underneath the fire of a driver. And he's got something to prove this weekend and make sure that this Roush Funway deal that is inevitable will actually be a good one here for himself. the stay away froms for this weekend. So who's going to end up in victory lane on Sunday? Kevin Harvick is on this list. And just because this guy gets very lucky on the qualifying draw, he's always up front because he's up front in the point situation. I don't think he's that great of a road course racer, and we're going to probably see that, I think, a little bit this weekend. I think SHR as a whole isn't great on the road courses in terms of the package, what they bring, specifically over the last couple of seasons. So for Kevin Harvick, he's got some strong races over the course of the next couple of weeks here. Pocono, Michigan, of course, later on as well. So keep some usages for Kevin Harvick in that regard. Kyle Larson, just too valuable elsewhere for me to put him in the lineup here this weekend. Very good on one lap speed. I think he could win the pole this weekend, but I'm just going to go on the safe side of things and just save the usage.
That's a dangerous one.
I know. I just don't quite think that he's going to be right up there with those guys. Top 10, probably on the cards for the 5 car, just not quite the usage that you really want to get the full value from a Kyle Larson usage that we've seen so far this season, where he can lead
just too good
the first 2 stages and then finish second in the race, basically. So next up, the last 2, Bubba Wallace and Matt DiBenedetto. I think these guys just are a little bit off this weekend. Bubba Wallace is not a great road course racer by any means, so expect the 23 car to struggle. And Matt DiBenedetto, I think he might be a little bit out of his depth here this weekend. There's going to be a lot of these other guys, Cindric, Allmendinger, that are going to come up here and really try and spice things up. I think DiBenedetto may be on the short end of the stick in terms of that Penske kind of fold there at the front of the field here this weekend. So those are the stay away from, the honorable mentions, and of course our lineups. Let's get to the bonus picks, probably where this entire weekend will really be kind of decided here this weekend. Do we want to give a poll prediction here before we get into the actual finishing stuff?
Let's do poll after the winner so that we can keep like the same order for everything and we don't have to worry about stuff. So
right, fair enough.
Hey, I did the less work I got to do here, the better. Anyways,
yeah, I respect that.
I kick things off here with the top Chevrolet pick, and I'm not gonna galaxy brain this. It's Chase Elliott. I'm not gonna overthink it. Try and like diversify. No, Chase Elliott, top Chevrolet, nice and easy. Not gonna overthink this one.
Yep, same here. Chase Elliott, straightforward. I don't need to express it any more than that. But I think he's going to be probably 99% of people who do the fantasy this week in the top Chevrolet finisher. So that 1% who don't pick him, I'm interested to see who you pick.
The 1% are going to be people who forgot to set their lineup. So
basically, but William Byron, AJ Allmendinger, Kyle Larson, they could potentially be guys that get up here for the Chevrolet.
Yeah.
It's just that, Chase Elliott is the no-brainer. Top Ford finisher for this weekend. There's a couple of candidates here for sure. You're going to be looking at the Penske stable 100%. There's maybe a couple of other ones. Michael McDowell could be a potential one. I didn't mention him in honorable mentions.
He needs some help, but
yeah, I'd say that, he could be on the cards for just a quiet day once again, because he's done that relatively consistently this season. But for me, the top Ford finisher this weekend, I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney. I'm going to go all in on my lineup here with my decisions. And I think Joey Logano was a fringe guy that I could have put here instead of Ryan Blaney, but every time I pick him, he sucks. So I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney here and hope that the fortune is on the good side of things for me here with the top Ford.
And every time you don't pick Logano, he does well, which is why he is my top Ford. Couple back-to-back second place finishes. I think it's 4
so lame.
Top 10s on the road courses. Hey, you've got the Penske guy in your lineup. I'm going to take the Penske guy that's in my lineup. Okay.
Fair enough. I can't get mad.
You want me to get even more lame here?
Sure.
Top Toyota, Martin Truex Jr.
Wow. Bold. Yeah, me too. I can't talk any trash. I can't. Like, I would love to put Kyle Busch or Denny Hamlin. I just can't. I got to go with Truex here. I think
not after a couple of rough races. Swing?
Nah, I can't. I can't quite do that here. But for Truex, it's a no-brainer once again, and I'm not going to overthink it.
Just playing the odds, right? Like, there's no reason not to. So
better be safe than sorry, right? Like, I'd rather be, I'd rather feel less stupid by not picking him than picking exactly. But winning manufacturer here. I think this one's pretty straightforward for me this weekend. Okay. I don't know about you, but I'm going with Chevrolet. I think they have the most options to win this weekend. They have the most cars out there as well, so I'm going to play the odds on that. Going with Toyota just limits my options a little bit too much, even though Truex could definitely win this race. I think just Allmendinger, Bowman, Byron, Elliott, they all kind of check the box there for a possible win prediction here this weekend. And I'm going to go with Chevrolet here as the winning manufacturer.
Yeah, I think organization is a bit more interesting, but for manufacturer, like you mentioned, you've got all the Hendrick cars. You've got, at the very least, Kurt Busch, who looked really solid at times during the Daytona Road Course earlier this year. And you've got AJ Allmendinger. So it's not just like the Hendrick stable and then kind of nothing else like it kind of usually is. You've got a lot of different options. And so even if you did want to maybe look at trying to snag like a Truex win or something like that, taking Toyota as the manufacturer doesn't seem like the greatest play, at least to myself. So Chevy absolutely for the top manufacturer here.
All righty. Winning organization. You said it was a little bit of
like
a conflicting one, but what are you thinking?
This is one that's a lot more interesting to me. It's a toss-up between JGR or Hendrick, but I am going to go the Hendrick Motorsports route, mainly because I think that you're going to be taking Chase Elliott as the top winner, so I want to cover some bases there if he does do so.
You son of a gun.
But for the top manufacturer, it's not just Chase Elliott there, though, as well. I really, really like William Byron. Alex Bowman has showed some promise at road courses, though it's mainly been on the Roval. And Kyle Larson, he's got that single lap speed like we've seen from Chip Ganassi. He was in the conversation at the Daytona Road Course until he wheel hopped and went into a tire barrier. But that was his second race at Hendrick. He's become a lot more familiar over the season there. I think he could be a sneaky pick if he kind of puts it all together here, even if it isn't the smartest usage for fantasy. And so for that reason, I like the Hendrick stable just a bit more than the JGR one, even though they are the defending winners at a road course, and Christopher Bell, even though Martin Truex Jr. is there, who I think honestly into this weekend is as much of a toss-up with Chase Elliott as you could possibly get with kind of those two, just going to a brand new circuit. But I am going to go the Hendrick route just because of the kind of other options at the stable as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Hendrick too. I'm not gonna overthink it. I would love to go JGR, but I'm all in on Chase Elliott this weekend. You can anticipate who I'm going to pick for the Cup Series winner pick. I'm thankful that I did lose last week, to be honest. If I can get him,
okay.
Because if I can just get a little bit of a winner pick right here, that'd be lovely. But yeah,
hey, you're the only one that's got each of the top manufacturer finishers right so far this year. You did go 3 for 3 at one point this year. I forget what it was, but you are the only one that's done that. So.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. But, at the end of the day, it's only 10 points that I'm ahead of you. So it's it's not, too much to gloat about. But for Hendrick Motorsports, they've got an all-star lineup over there. And not to say that JGR doesn't, just Chase Elliott is just that little bit more of an X factor for me this weekend, a little bit more ahead of Martin Truex Jr. And that's why I'm going to go with them as the winning organization. And then for the secondary guy, I would say William Byron may be better than the secondary guy over there at JGR potentially.
Yep.
They're just that little increments like that are going to make the difference here for me to put Hendrick over the edge here. Penske could be a little bit of an interesting one if there's some sort of strategic options here. I think strategy will be a huge element to this race in terms of how many pit stops we're going to see. Tire wear is going to be a massive issue for these guys this weekend, and how many stops the pit crews are going to be absolutely busy. I guarantee it, because there's going to be a lot of green flag pit stops, probably 2 maybe per kind of stage potentially if guys want to take that risk, because fresh tires could be absolutely crucial for some guys. And, some guys don't have a lot to lose, so they can play a little bit more of an aggressive game this weekend. But all in all, Hendrick Motorsports is the play here for me for winning organization. Let's go to
just quickly on the pit stop thing. That's a good point you make as well, because it's such a long road course that even if you do have a mistake on pit road, you are not worried whatsoever about losing your lap unless you are significantly deep in the field. So we could see a few strategy plays like that make a lot of sense.
Yep, for sure. It's going to be a fascinating race weekend because it's so many unknowns coming into it, and this should be fascinating to see how or which team can actually do the best job of executing this race on Sunday. But let's get to the winner selections here for COTA. The doubleheader on Saturday, as I said earlier, and then the Cup Series, of course, on Sunday. I lead us off here with the Truck Series prediction here, and I'm going to go with Sheldon Creed.
You would.
He's too good, man. I'm going to go with him as my Truck Series winner pick. Fairly self-explanatory, very good on the road courses. John Hunter Nemechek was very, very good here very, very good at the Daytona road course, so he could be a very interesting option. Unfortunately, Rafael Lizard's not in the field, so I can't pick him. But Sheldon Creed is my guy this weekend for the trucks.
That's an excellent pick because that was going to be my pick. So
what a shame.
The question is do I think that it's going to be like a relatively calm finish and it's going to be one of like the typical guys winning the race, or do I think it's going to be a chaotic, hectic finish?
Pick Paul Menard. You won't.
And because I'm not. And because
I did that for Josh Berry and he won, so maybe this is a good omen.
That's a good point. But I do think because it's the truck series, it'll be a chaotic finish, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. I'm going to go with somebody a bit different, maybe. Not going to go Ben Rhodes route. I'm not going to go even Zane Smith route. Going to go a little bit different. I'm going to say my boy, Kaz Grala, gets it done in the O2. I'm going to say he's going to be there in that kind of top 10 conversation for most of the day. We saw that at the Daytona road course. I think we're going to get a chaotic finish because that seems to be the only thing that the truck series is allowed to do this season.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think he's going to be in position to take advantage of some younger drivers, maybe more inexperienced drivers making some mistakes. And I'll take the home run swing and say Kaz Grala gets it done for a bit of a fun pick there.
Respect for that. I honestly hope you're right because that would be pretty cool to see. He was very, very good. Anytime he goes down in the lower series, really.
Don't forget his one Cup Series race so far. I'm pretty sure his only Cup. Oh no, because he did Colic stuff. Anyways, his Cup Series debut last year at the Daytona road course, top 10, filling in for Austin Dillon,
7th.
Which is pretty damn good because if you look at Austin Dillon's history in that 3 car at the road courses,
different story.
So good, but we get to the Xfinity series and I get the first pick for this one. And there's a lot of really, really interesting picks you can go for this one. But for myself, I'm going to the veteran experience for this one. Somebody who's very familiar with these Xfinity series cars on road courses and all season long. I'm going the 16 College car of AJ Allmendinger. I think it's going to be a fascinating kind of mix this season, for this race between who's going to be up at that front with Cindric in the conversation, of course, but then lots of other guys like the Cup Series guys. You've got the road course ringers. You've got a lot of really fascinating options here. But I think Allmendinger will take the veteran experience at this new track, a lot of undulation, which is something that, again, these drivers aren't necessarily used to with these stock cars, could cause some problems for some experienced drivers. So I'm going to say Allmendinger gets it done.
Give me Kyle Busch, baby.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, boy.
Of course I'm going to pick him. Damn it. I've got to. Jeez. Pick him long enough to get back down to the Xfinity series. Good Lord. I'm taking him every day of the week. You mentioned veteran experience. I'll give you veteran experience. Kyle Busch going to win the Xfinity series race at COTA.
Let's see.
I don't need any more reasoning for that.
Where do I got it here? Sorry.
You did well in practice as well.
I got to pull up these stats here again. Okay.
Oh, no.
Kyle Busch Cup Series road courses. Let's see. 37th, 30th, 35th. That's a great stretch he's been on. So I really like that swing. Cup Series road course finishes. The guy has not been able to finish recently. It's been so bad.
Yeah, right. Well, he's been in a little bit of a slump, but now he's turned the corner. You heard it here first. Kyle Busch.
I mean, he did win. He did win the Busch Clash. So
in the Skittles, not Camry, the Supra this weekend in the Xfinity Series, he's going to win the Xfinity Series. Yep. I don't need any more than that. Let's move on to
one last thing on Xfinity.
Oh, here we go. What is
one last thing on Xfinity? Shout out Alex Labbe. He's getting a top 5.
I would love that. That would be awesome. That'd be really, really cool. I hope he does it because he's had some bad luck on the road courses in terms of getting the finishes. He's been excellent in terms of overall performance. Hopefully he can get a good qualifying position and stay out of trouble. Of course, we're going to give a shout out to our Canadian Alex Labbe. But Cup Series, I'm not going to prolong this. Chase Elliott, baby. Yeah. I'm putting him in there. Yep. Cup Series winner pick. Damn, I hope I'm not wrong here. I honestly hope he wins this weekend just so that the media can be like, okay, yeah, he's got to win. Let's move on from that storyline. Let's just move on with our lives because, I just can't handle it any longer with them talking about, is this the weekend that Chase Elliott gets it? I think this is it this weekend. But he's just been kind of due. Ran well at Dover last weekend. The signs have started to are on the wall, the writing's on the wall that he's getting close to that win. I just think the bad luck at the Daytona road course can't really bite him once again here this weekend. Of course, Truex could definitely get up there. A late restart could cause some chaos going into turn one. It just could be madness, really. Any point this track, it could be really madness.
Dude,
it could be a last corner dump.
So much fun.
Dump and run. Like I could totally see it being a case here with that. It's just a lot of different variables for this one, but I'm just going to go with the safe pick. I'm going to go with Chase Elliott and not let you have the opportunity to take him for the Cup Series winner pick.
For whatever it's worth, I would have taken Truex regardless. I do think that he, at least for myself, he's my favorite going into this weekend. And I don't know what it is. I just feel better about Truex than Elliott going into this weekend. Maybe it's just because of the overall form that Truex team has been on. I don't know if maybe that's influencing it, but for some reason, when I look at Circuit of the Americas, I just feel like Truex name just fits beside that in terms of the winner. I don't know what it is, but I think playing the odds with the manufacturer and organization do make sense going the Chevy Hendrick route. But looking at the overall winner, I do think it's going to be a really great battle between Truex and Chase Elliott for this one. It's going to, hopefully we actually do get it this time. We don't need to worry about any qualifying draw or anything like that. So we'll get the proper set field based off of qualifying, which for starters, I cannot wait for because road course qualifying is fantastic.
Yeah,
seeing those guys on the edge and those crappy cars.
Right? It's if they can make as many laps as they want in qualifying. I'm not expecting too many laps because they can't change tires, but they may get maybe 1-2 laps in, and then that's kind of their run done. But then the top 12 go for a shootout for the pole. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see who makes that top 12 and who ends up on pole.
I'll be completely honest. I had no clue what the qualifying format was.
Oh, really?
It's been so long. So I'm glad you informed me. But anyways, Truex, I don't know. I like him this weekend. I think we're going to get a good battle.
I hope so. I would love to see those two go at it, similarly to what Watkins Glen has presented in the past.
Yep.
Just begging the broadcast, can we show a little bit of the battles throughout the field? Because Lord knows there's going to be many, and let's just not keep it on Chase Elliott the whole time, no matter how far out front he is or how far behind he is.
Like if you're going to do the guy who's out front, at least go on board so you can see like the hands and the feet and all that.
Give me a foot cam this weekend. I'm begging you, Fox, please. That's going to be really, really cool to watch, especially as the tire wear really kicks in. I mean, I'm just fascinated to see how this car works on this road course, and this is the most excited I've been for a race for quite some time. I feel like Bristol Dirt we weren't excited for, even though it was a new addition to the calendar for obvious reasons. This is the first real one on the calendar that's a new addition to the Cup Series that we're seeing this season. And of course, road course racing usually delivers for the NASCAR Cup Series
probably since maybe I don't know, the Roval maybe, but even then I feel like I'm probably more excited for this one than I was the Roval.
Yes, probably for me as well. I had some, skepticism about the Roval just because I never really seen NASCAR go with the half oval, half road course kind of thing, even though it's been fantastic really since they've gone on to that. I do like Charlotte as an oval track itself, but it made sense why they wanted to switch things up and have a road course in the playoffs. But for this race, the first real road course of the season that was planned to be on the calendar, none of this Auto Club off the calendar for the road course at Daytona bull crap. But looking forward to this one. Let's give our poll pick here quickly before we round things out. Since I got winner pick, you get to go first here with the poll selection. Who are you taking?
Mr. William Byron is going to get the pole position here. He's been great in the past in terms of road course qualifying. And again, hasn't really translated to a nice clean race for him. I think that can maybe change this upcoming weekend. He's been on absolutely fantastic form. When you factor all that stuff in, I think it could be a pretty nice weekend for Mr. William Byron. So he is my pole pick for COTA.
I'll go with Kyle Larson.
Okay, I thought about it.
Yeah, I think those two are very, very much the favorites for pole because they just get the most out of their car. I mean, I just remember Larson at Watkins Glen just absolutely sailing it over the bus stop and not giving an absolute dime about whether that car made it back or not. But the Turtles should be interesting to see if that comes into play at all this weekend. How many wreck race cars are there going to be? How many cautions are we going to get? Like, please, if it's a single spin, I know that they usually handle that pretty decently. They let the car, they give as much chance to the car to get going, but I'm cautiously optimistic that NASCAR has kind of learned their lesson and heard some feedback from the fans. Unless it's obviously a blatant caution, don't throw the yellow, just let them kind of race it out. But just overall, just really looking forward to the overall weekend here. But let's give our fantasy lineups once again for the viewers. What do you got here for your overall lineup and your bonus picks for this weekend?
Yes, I've got Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott, AJ Allmendinger, and William Byron, the same as you, going different, taking the swing on the two Penske cars of Austin Cindric and Joey Logano. In terms of the bonus picks, Chase Elliott, top Chevy, Joey Logano, top Ford, Martin Truex Jr., top Toyota, going with the Chevy Hendrick duo for manufacturer and winning organization. And because you're snagging Chase Elliott there for the winner pick, I've got Martin Truex Jr. for the Cup Series, AJ Allmendinger for Xfinity, and why not take my guy Kaz Grala for the Truck Series?
It's really good. And then for myself, very similarly to Kyle, we got 4 similarities, of course: Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., William Byron, and AJ Allmendinger. For the differences, I've gone with the Team Penske stable as well, but this one being with Ryan Blaney. And then going over to JGR, Christopher Bell rounds out my actual lineup. Then for the top Chevrolet, similarly to Kyle, we've got Chase Elliott. Top Ford is the only difference that we have for the bonus picks, really.
Yes.
In that I've got Ryan Blaney. He's going with Joey Logano. For myself, I've got top Toyota being Martin Truex Jr., of course, winning manufacturer Chevrolet, winning organization Hendrick Motorsports, Cup Series winner pick Chase Elliott, Xfinity Series winner Kyle Busch, and then the Truck Series winner Sheldon Creed. So very, very fascinating weekend coming up here at COTA. Couldn't be more excited if I tried. I am thoroughly looking forward to it, and hopefully this is going to be one of the races of the season. It has that potential to deliver on that. But what are your final thoughts here before we wrap up today's episode, Kyle?
Yeah, just super, super excited for this NASCAR weekend. The Saturday as well is jam-packed. You've got action starting at 9 a.m. with Truck Series qualifying, into Cup Series practice at 10, and then Xfinity qualifying at 11, and then 2 races later that day, of course, with the Truck Series at 1 Eastern, of course, and Xfinity at 4. So a busy, busy day for NASCAR on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, Cup Series qualifying, thank God, at 11 Eastern, and then the Cup Series race at 2:30 Eastern. So a lot of action this weekend. Feels like a nice, proper NASCAR weekend here, even though it's a completely different circuit. Feels like it's at least a little bit of normalcy with all this practice and qualifying, which is fantastic. And then you sprinkle in a nice night race for ARCA at Toledo, nice short track there. And then Monaco for F2 and F1. Oh, it's just such a great weekend.
Absolutely. Couldn't be more excited. As I said, it's going to be really, really interesting to see who ends up in victory lane and across all forms of motorsports this weekend. But make sure to go follow us on Instagram at The Green Flag Pod, as well as Twitter at The Green Flag Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. We would really, really appreciate it. All the links to our social channels will be in the description of the YouTube video. But for this episode, I've been Lukas Wacker. He's been Kyle Cushman, signing off for now. I will talk to you after this weekend to get you wrapped up and recap from the events here at COTA. Should be a fun one. Enjoy the racing, everybody.